I think one misconception that people have about spiritual awakening is that it's always blissful and wonderful, that you always feel connected with the world and feel a sense of oneness. Yes, there are moments like this, especially in the initial phase of spiritual awakening. But soon you'll realize that you'll still get emotionally triggered by the things or the people around you. Old wounds will still come out. Some of you may be overly righteous that things should be done in a certain way, the spiritual way. People will still irritate you and you will still get angry. And that's okay, it's normal. I used to have low self-esteem. I still get triggered when I go to social events and I feel like I was left out or I was invisible. I still feel not good enough sometimes. My mind still complains about things and other people. The question is not how to not get triggered, but how to stay in alignment and connection with the source, with your spiritual self, despite being triggered. The biggest difference between before spiritual awakening and after spiritual awakening is you have some space between you, your spiritual self, the observer, and the ego. The stories that your ego tells, the belief that your ego holds. And you start to not take things that personal. You still have emotion like anger and sadness, but you're not consumed by these emotions. You don't react to this emotion as much, or you don't get stuck in this emotion for too long. After spiritual awakening, you have this awareness of this stable, peaceful center. No matter what emotional storm that you're experiencing, underneath it, there is always this underlying peace and knowing. Instead of being carried away by these emotions, your center is holding space for these emotions. Like when I had a panic attack at the end of last year, I just observed my body. I saw that my breathing get faster and shallower, like I couldn't breathe. I felt an uncomfortable feeling in my chest area. That's anxiety. But I didn't add more fuel to this emotion. I didn't worry like, oh no, what's happening to me? What's wrong with me? Am I going to die? I still feel the anxiety, but I don't react to the emotions. I be with the emotion. The underlying peace that you are, observe the emotion without getting carried away by the emotions. And when you're not consumed by your emotions, that's where you can soothe and regulate your emotion. Like, it's fine, you're going to be okay. And this applies to all your emotion, be it grief, anger, disappointment, or shame. But it's not like people who aren't spiritually awakened don't have this underlying peace within them. They have it, just that they're not aware of it. Before spiritual awakening, when my ego tells the story of how I'm not good enough for other people, I will wallow in self-pity. I will hide, I will cry, I will get stuck in the victim mode for a long time. Now, after spiritual awakening, when my ego tells the story of how I'm not good enough for other people, I still allow my hurt inner child to have this moment of shame, but I'm always there to embrace it, hold my inner child, and be compassionate towards it. And this feeling of shame will dissipate very fast. After your spiritual awakening, your old limiting belief will still exist. The only difference is you don't believe them 100% anymore, but you still need to give some time and space to your inner child to process your emotions, to heal past wounds, and to release attachment. Like sometimes I will allow my inner child to throw some tantrum when it's not getting the things that it wants. And after a while, the emotion will went away and I'm back to alignment, I'm back to my center. The only thing that you do not want to do is to suppress your emotions. You may think that now you are spiritually awakened, you are not supposed to feel this negative emotion. So wherever you are triggered, you push down this emotion. But this brings more harm than good to your spiritual journey. Because when you block this so-called negative emotion, you also don't allow yourself to feel the positive emotion like joy, love, and freedom. Instead, you get stuck in depression. Your life feels flat and uninspiring, and you're not motivated to do anything, and then you're stuck in this phase called the dark night of the soul. Actually, when you are spiritually awakened, you may feel that you are more triggered than before. It's not because you aren't spiritual. It's not because you have fear. It's because you are more aware than before. Before spiritually awakened, you may get triggered many times without knowing that you are triggered. Like if someone makes you feel that you're not good enough, you may defend yourself, you may avoid them, or you may distract yourself with something else. You have all this protective mechanism and automatic reaction in place that you don't see yourself being triggered. You may not even be conscious of what you're thinking or what you're feeling. Also, after spiritual awakening, you may realize more and more emotional wounds comes to the surface. And again, it's not because you aren't spiritual, it's because you're ready to heal these wounds. Once your ego has less of a hold on you, so are the protective mechanisms you have in place to protect you from feeling certain emotions. And when they loosen up, emotional wounds will keep coming up for you to purge them out of the system. And this doesn't end. I had my spiritual awakening in December 2015. I still go through the dark night of the soul from time to time. I still feel negative emotion from time to time. But the good thing is, this is not continuous. You will purge some emotional wound and then come to a point which is stable. And then you will purge some more and then back to stability. And every time you purge, you get lighter on a subject. You have less resistance to it. The universe won't give you something that you can't handle. When the emotion comes to the surface, it means it's time for you to release them. And the purpose for bringing these emotional wounds to the surface is not for you to re-experience or relive the painful moments in the past and get stuck in it. It's for you to decide whether to let go of these painful stories or continue to hold on to it. It's a choice that you have to make. It's like the universe is giving you an opportunity each time to get closer to your spiritual self. And you have to decide whether to be aligned with your spiritual self or continue to be in misalignment. No matter how triggered you are or how disconnected you are from your spiritual self right now, I just want you to know that you can always get back. You can always realign and reconnect to your spiritual self. This separation from source is just temporary. You can't get rid of your ego completely. You also can't be separated from your source completely. You can only deviate from your source for a while and subscribe to the ego narrative, but you can always return to spirit each time you wake up. And you will keep flipping back and forth until the frequency gets smaller. You become aware faster and you learn how to stay connected despite all these triggers. If you are feeling anxiety during spiritual awakening, it's normal. Watch this next video.